Hi everybody, this is Kevin, and welcome back to some more comic reviews. Once again, we're going into the DC Dollar Comics. These are the only two by DC this week. There was a couple Marvel True Believers for $1, but I didn't really seem too interested in them. There was, I think, Iron Man 2020 or something like that, and like I said, I'm more of a DC guy than I am Marvel. And with DC here, you got two Batman books. These are both to coincide with the Birds of Prey movie. You have on my left here Batman 386, which is the introduction of Black Mask from 1985. And on my right, you have Batman Shadow of the Bat, The Last Arkham, #1 from 1992, which is the introduction of the villain Victor Zsasz. So, both good reads. I've never read this one before, to be honest with you. This one I have read. This went on from, I think, 1992 to 2000. It was like a 92 or 96 issue miniseries, which coincided with Cataclysm and No Man's Land and all these other epic storylines from the late 90s to the early 2000s. Very good books. No Man's Land is really good. No Man's Land is actually like an inspiration to The Dark Knight Rises with Bane and with, the whole blowing up of the football stadium and that sort of thing in that movie. It came from that book. So let's take a look at the one on the left first, Batman 386. And this is the introduction of the Black Mask. And like it says on the cover here, they were really hyping him up. Crazier than the Joker, deadlier than Ra's al Ghul, introducing a villain for the 80s, Black Mask. And like I said, this came out in 1985. And you see right there, this is like the cover. Written by Doug Moench and drawn by Tom Mandrake. Both these guys worked on Batman quite a bit from the 80s and the 90s. And this is a classic style Batman book. Whoop, I skipped a couple pages. In the beginning here, I really want to highlight this. It shows how Black Mask came to be. And as a baby, he was dropped on his head. And he was really traumatized. As a young boy, they went over to the Waynes, and he was friendly with Bruce Wayne. It's always funny how a lot of the Batman adversaries know who Bruce Wayne is, but they don't know that he's Batman. So he just gets used and abused his whole childhood, and his parents owned like a cosmetic company, and that's how he comes to be. He falls in love with this woman who's a model. Her name is Circle, and he's trying to experiment with all this cosmetic stuff, and that's how it comes to be where he puts on the mask, because he uses these cosmetics that are deemed unsafe. And at first he uses them on the model there, Circle, and it's deemed unsafe, and they're going to shut down the company. And eventually his parents die and he takes over, but he keeps running out of money, so he turns to Lucius Fox, because Bruce Wayne is the only one that'll keep him afloat, giving him more money. And like a madman, he goes into the Sionis funeral there in the grave to pay his father a visit, and he goes into his tomb, and there he is, the father. Look how dark this is. This is in the 80s. You wouldn't think that they would be doing dark things like that, but after Frank Miller took over Batman started going in more of a dark way, and he puts on this mask using the adhesive from the cosmetics, and starts wearing the black mask, and then he gets all sorts of recruits, and he has all these masks in his office, and he says, you gotta put these masks on. And then Batman is fighting this clown character, and he thinks it's the Joker, and he's like, who do you work for? Answer me. And then the guy says, I work for the Black Mask. And Batman says, who's the Black Mask? Never heard of him. So this becomes another villain to foil with Batman. And read more in Batman Arkham Black Mask graphic novel, so you can learn more about the Black Mask. I've never actually read this one before, but I have read one of my favorite stories with the Black Mask is Batman Under the Red Hood. I have the graphic novel. This was, I think, released in 2006. It's a pretty thick one. This is by Doug Moench, Doug Moench, Shane Davis, Eric Battle, Paul Lee, quite a bit of people. And I just wanted to show you back in the 2000s, this is what Black Mask ends up looking like. There he is as a cover page for Batman 636. And this is a great story. Early in the book, it has Black Mask battling with Red Hood. And if you know anything about this book, it's a great series. I'm going to look at this more in depth later on, but you see right there, that's Black Mask. Right there. See how menacing he is. This is a good one. There's a lot of good Black Mask stories out there. And it's always good to start with the original. So along with that, we have Batman Shadow of the Bat, #1, The Last Arkham by Alan Grant and Norm Breyfogle. Now, Alan Grant, if you know, worked on a lot of the Judge Dredd books back in the day. And Norm Breyfogle actually just passed away in 2018. He worked on a lot of Batman books, did a lot of stuff back in the day. They worked together on Batman for quite a bit. And this is the introduction of the villain Victor Zsasz, who's in, the new Harley Quinn movie, the Birds of Prey movie, which I've actually heard some decent things about. I might go check it out. So they're here at Arkham Asylum. You got the Joker leading the way. And it shows a bunch of people just questioning all the inmates in Arkham Asylum. The art is fantastic. This book came out in 1992. Very good. So I wanted to show you, they're talking to a few villains here. One of them is the Scarecrow, I believe. Yep, they're talking to the Scarecrow. And just some great art. Look at the skyline there of Gotham. This nice double-page spread. It cuts to Robin doing battle with some criminals, because you'll see later why it's Robin and not Batman. Robin's doing the work now because Batman is sort of out of commission. And with the timeline, this is 1992. It just makes me think, this is either Tim Drake. I don't think it's Jason Todd. I think it's Tim Drake, because you got Dick Grayson as Nightwing there. I'm not quite sure. I got to think about my timelines with Batman. So there's Victor Zsasz. Mr. Zsasz, serial killer with a difference. He has no pattern. He kills anybody. 47 known victims. And you see, this is the introduction of this villain, the first time he ever appeared in any of the comics. And you don't even see his face, you just see his teeth. And he's just so unpredictable that they have to keep him all locked up. Shows how menacing he is. And then, oh, we went a little too fast. So then they go into this other room to interview another prisoner. And you see right there, they have Batman locked up. And they says, Batman, alias unknown, as yet, crime, murder. And if you know Batman, he definitely didn't commit any murder. And I think it's kind of funny, because it's like, you have Batman all chained up, and they act like, oh, his alias unknown. Why did they rip the cowl off? And then they go back and forth, and, the doctor there is talking to Batman, and he's saying, oh, you're going to tell me who you are. And I'm just thinking, like, just rip the cowl off, And so they have Batman all chained up, and they're fighting, and you see Batman grabs the bat and hits the other guy in the head. You can't mess with Batman. And he's getting ready to break free. And he says, I am not insane. So I have to think where this is in the timeline as well, as to why Batman's locked up in Arkham Asylum. Because, as you know, Batman is the good guy here, and whoever he killed definitely framed him. And you just look at that art there. Classic Batman. This is a great series from what I remember. It ties into No Man's Land later on, which, like I said, is a great graphic novel. And, they're unable... Batman's unable to escape. As you see, they're shooting water at him to keep him down. And he's all bruised up. So, this is a very good book. Great artwork. And there's the credits right there. And this is continued in the Batman Arkham Victor Zsasz graphic novel. Oh, look at that nice Wonder Woman ad. So, good books right here. I have to admit, there's a good DC Dollar Comics. These are both of the DC Dollar Comics. Like I said, Marvel has its true believers. None of them really interest me. I'm a big Batman fan. I'm a big DC fan. So, I decided to check these two out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you saw the Birds of Prey movie. Like I said, these books are all to coincide with the release of the movie. I am going to see it eventually. I think it looks pretty... I've heard mixed things about it. We'll see what happens. I mean, it could be good. Who knows? So, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't want to keep you too long. We'll talk to you again real soon. Bye.